Alright. Chainsaw Man chapter 158 just came out. Well, it came out actually about 10-ish hours ago, but I am a little late to my review discussion, whatever, this week, because I have to work. But anyways, let's get started with the chapter overview. So, a quick recap. After Asa tripped and fell last chapter, the soldiers she fell in front of started blasting at her, to which Fami does her summon, which is the Guillotine Devil. So the Guillotine Devil, his design is pretty unique. It's probably one of my first impression. I really like it because you can actually see the guillotine. And I like it when devils actually reflect the subject they are representing. A big no to Cockroach Devil. That was, I don't know what Fujimoto was thinking. But anyways, we get the Guillotine Devil, which to me seems like a cross between a guillotine and a plague doctor. And Fujimoto does have a bit of a thing for plague doctors in the past with the Violence Devil. So, anyways, Fami tells the Guillotine Devil to kill all the guards. And the Guillotine Devil doesn't quite do that. He cuts their weapons and their clothes and leaves them alive and almost naked. And we'll get into why in a second. The possibilities of why he did that. This old man, he pretends to surrender before attacking Asa, who counters and then transforms into Yoru to kick him to the ground. I believe what the guy did may be considered a war crime, which he is doing against Yoru, the representation of war. But anyways, Asa and Yoru share a brief moment of connection with one another. Yoru compliments Asa on her moves, and then we are interrupted with these three guys coming out the door. So Haruka, the club church president, he starts blaming Fami for everything that's happened to him. And Fami doesn't care. And neither does Asa, so she reveals that she's not there for them, but here for Chainsaw Man. And the three follows Asa and Fami, with the Guillotine Devil following behind them. And that's where the chapter ends. So on a surface level, there's not that much to go over, but there's actually quite a bit when we really go over it. So the first thing is the Guillotine Devil. When Fami ordered the Guillotine Devil to kill all the guards, he didn't do that. So how come he didn't kill? So the first idea I have is that crows are kind, and that's what Fujimoto's going with. Because the Violence Devil, or I guess he's a fiend, the Violence Fiend, he wore the Plague Doctor mask, and he was probably the nicest character out of everyone in the series. So it could be that the Guillotine Devil, who wears a crow's head, is also very nice deep inside. But the other idea that I have that I'm more shifting towards is that guillotine is a tool of judgment, it's an execution tool. So by that, the Guillotine Devil, he is judging these characters. And because the guards don't deserve to die, he didn't kill any of them. But whereas started going apeshit when these three guys came out. So it could be a hint that someone amongst the three is evil. Because before those three came out, we get a little scene with the door slowly opening before they crawl out. And in this series, doors are not good. Doors are very evil. We have Denji's motif of his evil acts, evil memories hidden behind the door. And then we have like the entire scope of hell is like made of a bunch of doors. So in Chainsaw Man, door evil. Don't touch doors. So my thought is that the guillotine devil is a detector of good and evil. And because someone here is very sus, the guillotine devil starts going ham on, just starts screeching everywhere. And of course, Seigi is super sus. Seigi looks like Agni from Fire Punch. His last name is a reference to Agni. His first name means justice, which, it's not a good sign when we are dealing with the fire and the justice devil. And also his right eye is missing. I did a video on why right eye's missing. That's a sign of evilness in Chainsaw Man. But anyways, so if I have $100, I would bet them all on him being very evil. And look at him. Those two are kind of panicking. This guy, not even a little bit of very calm, very calm. So very sus. But moving on to Haruka. So Haruka he started as a Chainsaw Man fanboy, and he still is, but in many ways, there are admirable aspects about Haruka. The first thing he does when he saw Fami was to protect Seigi and Kobeni's brother. And even then, even after that, he stands up to Fami and refuses to serve her anymore. And when you compare that to what Denji does in part 1 and his relationship with Makima, in a lot of ways, Haruka is better than Denji in terms of making his own decisions and standing up for himself. So one thing that I wondered when the whole chainsaw apocalypse happened is that is that why didn't Haruka turn into a chainsaw too? And the answer is probably going to be that while he admired the idea of Chainsaw Man, he doesn't really want to be him. And as we just went over, in a lot of ways, he's already better than Denji. And maybe he realizes that on some subconscious level. But after that, okay, so we are going to talk about, last thing we're going to talk about is a bit of Fami's powers. Because this chapter, she summons the guillotine devil with this piece. I don't know what this is. It looks like a miniature version of the guillotine devil. But it's hard to say what that is. So, from what we know of Fami's powers, she can turn beings that are starving into her minions, her pawns. And being hungry, being starving, it can be like a metaphorical idea. So in the case of the crow, the guillotine, he is starving for justice. And by that, he he is going to stay Fami's underling until he delivers his justice. And Seigi's name, just happens to also mean justice. So if he eats Seigi, the supposed, what we theorize to be an evil being, his hunger could be satisfied and he can be free of Fami. This is where I'm seeing this going. And even at the end of the chapter, we see the group lineup of them following each other. The Guillotine Devil is following directly behind Seigi. So I think there's definitely some, maybe not definitely, but I think there's some, I don't know what you call it. It's not a rivalry, but it's like the Guillotine Devil has a lot of animosity towards Seigi right now. And even his head is like positioned right under the guillotine. So I do think this is like a intentional literary device that Fujimoto is doing. Also on the topic of Fami's powers, it kind of implies that the Falling Devil is heavily nerfed when she fought Denji, which makes sense, because even though Denji's gotten stronger, he shouldn't have been able to fight her evenly. And it also just tells us how terrifying the primordial devils are again, because the Falling Devil appeared in the real world on Earth for a matter of minutes. And even though she was only in Japan, other countries suffered like natural disasters just from her presence on Earth alone. So definitely, nerfed and whatnot. But anyways, that's the end of the chapter. Surprisingly, we do have a chapter again next week. So, yay. Here are the opening editor's commentary and the ending. Nothing too special. I kind of translated them here. So pretty standard stuff. But yeah, that's going to be all from me for today. I'll see y'all next week.